Hey guys, I was thinking about how to display the fulcrum, and it hit me. Why not build a simple base? I'm going for a vibe of a concrete airstrip. Let's kick it off. I'm using insulation foam as a solid base. It's lightweight, sturdy, and cuts like a dream. I've cut out two panels, and I'm sticking them together with good old PVA glue to get the right height. It's good to weight down the boards, so I grabbed anything heavy I could find nearby. The next morning, everything looks solid. I've got this cool patch from the 1st Fighter Squadron in Sliac, and I want to incorporate it into the base. I drew some guidelines and I cut out the space for the patch with a foam cutter. To make the patch stand out, I'm placing it on a glossy surface. I marked the position for the patch and removed that area to insert it into the surface. First, I drilled some holes and then connected them with cheap side cutters. Yeah, the next step is to break the board, but no big deal, I'll fix it later. Using a Proxon drill, I smooth out the rough edges and glue the broken piece back on. Now I'm going to try something new for me. I'll give double-sided adhesive tape a shot. The advantage is the bond is instant and there's no waiting around. The perfect material for the concrete blocks is cork. I simply measure the required size and cut it with a hobby knife. Now for the concrete texture. There are many products, but this time I want to go budget friendly using lightweight wood filler. I just apply it to the surface and indicate the texture with a piece of foam. This way each block will have a slightly different look. I'll stick them in place using PVA glue. I'm covering the sides of the base with plywood using double-sided tape. It's a very quick solution. I trimmed the excess plywood with a hobby knife. Now all that's left is to fill the gap and add the concrete texture. With the hard work done, let's move on to painting. I started with a plastic board. The first step is a primer for a good foundation. then glossy black. Next, clear gloss. I'll polish the surface using polishing compounds before applying the final layer of glossy varnish. After masking off the plastic board, I can move on onto the concrete. I painted the entire surface with black first. If I miss something in the next layer, the black will act as a fake shadow. For the concrete color, I choose these paints. I'll mix them to create slight variations in each block. I further break up the surface with a lighter shade of the base color. The gaps between the blocks are filled with asphalt. To mimic this effect, I made thin noodles from 2-component putty, pressing them into the gaps. The excess will stay on the surface, creating a texture similar to spilled asphalt. The perfect tool for this task is a silicone brush. For the yellow stripe in the middle, I'm using tape and a liquid mask. I simply mark the position with tape and use the liquid mask to create worn out places. Once it's dried, I sprayed white paint as a base. The white ensures the correct shade for the subsequent yellow color. Finally, all that's left is to peel off the tape and remove the mask to reveal the paint chips. Back to the asphalt. Semi-gloss black is perfect for simulating the surface. I'm applying it with a thin brush. It already looks quite nice, but it will be better to add some shading with oil paint. I mixed my own shades of washes and applied them randomly to the surface. Nice details include oil stains built on the ground. The last step for the base is painting the sides. For this, I used inexpensive acrylic paint from the hobby store and it did the job excellently. What's the base without some extras, right? Let's start with a tow bar. I trimmed the excess resin, covered imperfections with Tamiya putty, and glued the pieces together with superglue. The leather comes from an Eduard photo etch set. I cut it out with an old blade, bend it on a bending tool, and adjust it with tweezers. Before painting, I sprayed everything with Mr. Color primer. The 3D printed chocks under the wheels had a visible grade pattern. I applied Mr. Color primer roughly and then sanded it to hide the pattern. I want to achieve a worn out look, so I'm first spraying silver, followed by chipping fluid and finally the top layer. Red paint is thinned with X20 thinner to make it easy to chip off. A nice tool for paint chipping is a toothpick. I apply a bit of water, which activates the chipping fluid under the paint, causing it to come off. Using a wet toothpick gives me more control than, for example, using a brush. Back to the tow bar. I painted the raised details with lighter color to make them stand out. For weathering, I started with a foam sponge and a grey paint. This method creates a random texture. Next, I applied a dark wash and later blended the excess with thinner. Once that's done, I begin applying rusty tones, placing them where the texture was created with the sponge. Again, hard edges are blended with thinner. And that's it for today. Now it's just a matter of putting everything in its place. A small note to end: it's always better to position the model at an angle to the base, it looks better. In my case though, I had to accommodate the specific dimensions of the display case. Thanks to everyone who watched till the end. If you enjoyed the video, please support my work by subscribing, liking or leaving a comment below. See you in the next one.